Let the headlines wait. Armies hesitate. I can deal with fate, but not the little things.
February 1956. In the heart of New York, Operation Big City was underway. A Ford Mercury, specially adapted with a hidden exhaust pipe, pumped out bacteria onto the streets of Manhattan. Undercover agents entered the city's subway system, their cases equipped with tiny motors, which covertly dispersed the bacteria Bacillus globuli. 10 years later, the Army returned. Light bulbs filled with bacteria were dropped in front of trains and down ventilation shafts to test how far the bacteria would spread through the subway system. For years, these public experiments were kept secret from the citizens of New York. The Army faithfully filmed its own experiments. This Washington, D.C. bus station was the site of another secret test. 30 similar trials were conducted at public locations all across America. One of the earliest experiments had fatal consequences. In 1951, the Army sprayed the bacteria Serratia marcescens over San Francisco. 11 hospital patients developed a mysterious infection, and within days, Edward Nevin died from an illness caused by the same bacteria.
In the 1950s, as the Cold War escalated, there were fears that Britain, as an exposed, vulnerable island, could be devastated by a biological or chemical warfare attack. In readiness for possible war, people living in vast areas of Bedfordshire, Norfolk and the East Coast became guinea pigs in covert defence experiments. Inside Out disentangles the facts from the deceit to reveal a disturbing chapter of secret history that may prove to be at odds with the official line. A chemical concoction comprising cadmium was used to mimic how a biological germ cloud would spread if Soviet Russia released one during an attack on us. Rural Bedfordshire was sprayed from aircraft and, more shockingly, from a converted lorry. The city of Norwich was hit over a sustained period. The Ministry of Defence have consistently said there was no significant health risk as a result of the experiments.
I used to work in the cancer field, and I always knew that cadmium, was a deposit in your body that you oughtn't to have. Why they chose cadmium, why they did the whole test, is a mystery to me.
It is sometimes necessary to try out a disease aerosol on volunteers In 1951, at Fort Detrick, Maryland, construction crews built a hollow metal sphere 4 stories high. Inside, germ weapons were to be exploded, creating mists of infectious aerosols for testing on animals and people. They called it the 8 Ball.
Still allows the government to do open air testing, for example, on Americans without their consent, approval, or knowledge. All of the guys in national security.
The volunteer children participated with the consent of their parents.
Geoengineering is the artificial modification of our Earth's climate systems to mitigate global warming.
Surface waters in Northern California and many regions of our nation are testing alarmingly high in aluminum, barium, and many other dangerous contaminants.
Are we being exposed to danger?
Yes, you are being exposed to hundreds and even thousands of times higher than safe levels.
Is it the clouds from the airplanes?
Yes, our generation never had clouds that came from airplanes. Yours does. But those are not clouds. Jet trails now remain in the sky for up to an entire day, spreading out and raining reflective particles like aluminum that disrupt our planet's weather patterns.
We may also be suffering undue drought and vegetation losses, Alzheimer's and other neurological and respiratory distress.
What can we do?
Such as Q fever, mycoplasma pneumonia, chlamydia pneumonia, parvovirus, brucellosis. Brucellosis was very interesting.
The disease has the properties of a biological warfare agent. I mean, it creates destruction. It doesn't kill you, but it can destroy you and disable you. They were looking for agents that would do that. It mimics natural infection, so they can potentially spread it through insect vectors and claim that they didn't, the government didn't do it as a natural epidemic.
As a scientist, I was extremely intrigued. As a victim, I thought, oh my God, what are we up against?
Clad in pajamas, the masked children are ready for the test.
They do have something live in the blood that is not yet identified.
It's called weaponization.
If you declare it a biowarfare agent, then you can do any experiment you want.
During the Vietnam War, the U.S. military sprayed and dumped an estimated 20 million gallons of chemicals in an attempt to destroy enemy hiding positions in the forest. Agent Orange. The chemical used in this campaign not only destroyed the forest, but it also caused and continues to cause chromosomal damage in humans. Chemicals were also sprayed on crops. 688,000 acres of farmland were sprayed with a chemical called Agent Blue. The U.S. government claimed that these chemicals were harmless to people and only had a minor impact on the environment. But more than 5,000 American scientists disputed these claims and signed a petition against chemical and biological weapons being used in Vietnam. Despite their efforts, the United States government did not stop using these chemical agents until the conflict was almost over.
It's one of the deadliest chemical agents ever created. Within seconds of exposure, symptoms of nausea and convulsions take over. Without emergency treatment, paralysis, respiratory failure, and death can occur within minutes. This deadly killer is the nerve agent VX.
Weapon VX. Classification organophosphate. Lethal dose 30 micrograms.
Thousands of Americans come down with Lyme disease every year. If left untreated, the infection can spread to your nervous system and even your heart.
And today I'm going to speak to you about West Nile virus. The West Nile virus is a virus that's transmitted to people and certain animals by infected mosquitoes. is the unfortunate few, less than 1% of people who get infected, who develop much more serious symptoms. And these symptoms are called encephalitis, when the virus enters into the brain and the brain becomes infected and swollen. When this happens, symptoms can be quite severe, causing neurologic symptoms, coma, and sometimes leading to death.
BW agents, in order to infect you, must get inside your body. If they are in the air you breathe, you draw them into your respiratory tract, where they may multiply and cause sickness or death. If they are in something you drink, they get inside your alimentary tract and cause trouble. A gas mask protects you because it filters the BW agents out of the air you breathe. It covers your nose, mouth, and eyes, free of the 4 main portals through which germs can get inside your body. A 4th portal of entry is any small cut or abrasion in the skin. Unbroken skin is a natural barrier. Any small cut may be an open door through which BW agents enter your body.
Although their effect on the body is the same, the nerve agents differ slightly in their physical characteristics. GA was the first to be developed. Unlike the others, it has a faint odor, something like fruity chewing gum. It would probably be encountered in the form of a non-persistent vapor or aerosol. GB has no odor. It is about 4 times as toxic when inhaled as GA. It also would normally be encountered in the form of vapor or aerosol. V agents are also odorless. The most important difference, however, is their slow rate of evaporation. Although a V agent may be used as a vapor or aerosol, it is most likely to be encountered as a liquid contaminant, producing casualties by contact as well as by inhalation.